Trinity Sunday is an archaic celebration in the life of the church. It's weird, in which we just don't know what we're supposed to do. Most Sundays are based on a season. It's the preparation for Christmas. It's the celebration of Christmas. It's the reflection on the Epiphany. It's the coming of Christmas and a time of Lent and meditation. It's the day of Pentecost, a celebration of the resurrection. All of these are possibilities, but Trinity Sunday is a celebration that we know of God in at least three different ways, and yet there is one God. It is a tradition that comes to us from other denominations. And yet, I think perhaps it is one of the most important celebrations for us, because on Trinity Sunday, we reflect on our identity, who we are in relationship to God, who we believe God to be. Trinity Sunday comes to us from the Nicene Creed. It comes from an understanding that in a time of creedal formula, we tried to explain who we are and what we mean by the labels that we have. To say, I believe in God, was not enough, because the question came, which God? The God of creation millions of years ago? The God, Jesus Christ, who we knew 2,000 years ago in Nazareth? Or a God who's alive and real today? And are those gods present here? And the Nicene Creed tried to describe that we believe in God the Creator who continues to create today. And we believe that that Creator stepped into creation to try to redeem creation in Jesus Christ, and who continues to save us and petition for us today, but also in the Holy Spirit who troubles us and plays with us and challenges us and dances with us in this time. In the 21st century, we're known by labels. Instead of creedal formula that tries to explain every contingency of what we mean by those labels, we believe that identifying ourselves as a Republican or as a Democrat identifies who we are. And part of what the presidential campaigns this year are all about is that being a Republican is not what people thought being a Republican was. Being a Democrat may mean being a socialist. And all of these trouble those who are campaigning and those who are voting for them. In fact, today in the 21st century, we are so addicted to labels that we've reduced this down in texting to only using the first letter as an acronym. So I'm an MM Christian. I'm a married male. And we believe we know what we mean by all these labels. Instead, increasingly, I believe that it's like the old Robert Redford, Paul Newman movie, Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid. In that film, Sundance is taken out into the town center to prove what a great shot he is, that he is the Sundance Kid. And so the one asking him to prove it says, I'm going to throw a silver dollar up in the air, and I want you to take aim and shoot it. So put out your right arm, point as if you're going to shoot, close one eye and stick out your tongue so that you can shoot it. Because that's the way in which the person who was asking for it would always aim. And of course, Sundance misses it terribly. And Sundance says, so instead of trying to aim as you do, can I move? And of course, moving, he's able to shoot the silver dollar 6 times in midair. We need to dance. We need to move. Rather than being stuck with creedal formula that try to isolate in one period of time and memorize what that is as to what we believe, we're called to struggle and to question and to search in this time, in this place, for what does it mean to be the church? What does it mean to believe in God as Creator and Redeemer and the troubler of life, the one who dances with us and helps us to see life anew? How do we understand our faith as people who are forgiven, who are continually trying to be forgiven? One of my favorite stories is about someone who was rushing to get to work and driving 80 miles an hour through a 55 zone. And of course, the red lights began to show up in their rearview mirror. They were taken before the judge, and the judge said, you've got to pay the fine of $100 for speeding. The person said, but I don't have $100. And the judge said, well, the fine, if you can't pay $100, is that you would spend the weekend in jail. And the person says, but I have responsibilities. I can't spend the weekend in jail. And the judge says, the law says that your fine is $100 or a weekend in jail. The person says, I understand that, Your Honor, but I can't pay. Is there anything else that could be done? And reluctantly, the judge gets up from their seat and comes around the bar and takes off the robe and puts on their suit coat and takes out a $100 bill and places that $100 on the bar, and then takes off their suit coat and puts on the robe and comes back around and says the sentence for speeding is $100 or a weekend in jail, and you're not able to pay the $100, you're not able to spend the weekend in jail. But here someone has paid that fine for you. Go forth, you're free. That is who we are. Except instead of it being a speeding ticket, instead of it being $100, it's our marriage that's reached an impasse. It's a cancer that's come into our health. It's the life of our child. And suddenly that debt is paid. Suddenly that fine is released, and we are set free. That is God in our midst. God behind us, God before us, God beneath us, God above us, God all around us. We are forgiven. So what are we going to do with life? I'm Craig Lindsey at the First Presbyterian Church in Skaneateles.